My name is Mira Taylor, and I was halfway through microwaving last night's leftover lentil stew when the notification buzzed across my phone screen like a mosquito I couldn't swat away. Chase. Alert. 7,829.64 charge approved Moonvale Vineyards Catering. I blinked. It was lunch hour, and I was in the staff break room, wedged between two HR reps discussing ergonomic chairs while a paper towel roll teetered on the edge of the microwave. The steam fogged up the plastic container in my hand, but my attention was frozen on that single line. I tapped into the app, looked again. Chase Family Emergency Account. 7,829.64. The one I had co-signed with my mother 6 years ago, back when her old Hyundai had died on the I-75 and the dealership needed someone with credit history. Back when I still believed helping family was what you did, no questions asked. The stew beeped. I didn't move. My hands, slick with condensation, tapped open the details. Line item: Moonvale Vineyards Catering, Boston, Massachusetts. That vineyard. The one I once mentioned in passing during a birthday dinner that someday, if I ever got the time and the money, I'd visit. I said it casually, almost joking. It was the kind of place where they hosted glossy magazine weddings, the kind of place you circled in a bridal magazine, then tossed the page because you knew it wasn't for people like you. I hadn't even known there was a gathering. There hadn't been a text, not a call, not even a forwarded evite like the ones they used to guilt me for ignoring. Just this, a notification for a $7,800 charge, for food, for wine, for laughter, for people who shared my last name and not a single seat for me. I stared at the number for so long that the HR reps left and the break room emptied. My stew went cold. Then my phone vibrated again. Mom, you probably wouldn't have come anyway. No, hi, no, sorry, no explanation, just that. Like it had been typed with one hand while she swirled a glass of Chardonnay in the other. That night, I opened the old binder in my closet, the one I hadn't touched in years. Inside, tax documents, a warranty for a vacuum I didn't own anymore, and at the very back the co-signature agreement, a Chase Family Emergency Account, joint access, granted to Elaine Taylor and Mira L. Taylor, equal co-owners. The box for fun purpose, medical, travel, and immediate family crises only. There were no crises, just charcuterie boards and hors d'oeuvres on white linen tables. I sat on the carpeted floor of my apartment, the binder balanced across my knees, while the neighbor upstairs dragged a chair across the floor like thunder. $7,800 for one night of laughter I wasn't allowed to hear. I thought about calling, thought about asking why. But we'd done this dance before. 3 years ago, I missed my cousin Jessa's wedding because no one told me it had been moved up 2 weeks. My name had been, accidentally, left off the group text. 2 years ago, my mom mailed birthday presents to all the nieces and nephews, each with a handwritten card. I got a $10 Target gift card expired. Last year, I sent flowers on Mother's Day. She posted a photo of them with the caption, "My daughter finally remembered." No thank you. No tag. Just that. She hadn't called me Mira in years. Just she. Just your sister, when talking to people who already knew who I was. The morning after the charge, I logged into the account dashboard. She hadn't even tried to hide it. There were itemized payments for wine pairings, shuttle buses, a string quartet, monogrammed napkins, all approved, all labeled Taylor Family Retreat. I scrolled to the bottom. A comment in the notes field from the planner. Final payment received. 64 guests confirmed. Great to work with you. I closed the laptop. I didn't cry. I didn't throw anything. I just sat on the edge of my bed and stared at the floor, where a single sock had curled into itself like it knew what it felt like. It wasn't about the money, not really. I made enough to cover rent, bills, student loans. I didn't have much left after that, but I wasn't starving. Still, I had co-signed that card under the agreement it was for emergencies. That if anything happened, a hospital bill, a funeral, a crisis, we'd be prepared. Apparently, I was the crisis. My phone buzzed again that afternoon. Cousin Ben. Did you see the pics? Crazy night, LL. Aunt Elaine gave a toast about how tight-knit we all are. Love this family. I stared at the screen for a long time. Tight-knit. Right. I deleted the message, opened my banking app. Then I opened a second tab, the one I hadn't used in months, the one linked to every smart system, utility, and security login still registered to my name from the house I helped save from foreclosure in 2017. I hovered over the Edit Access button. Then I clicked it. Nothing changed on the surface, but something had shifted. Not for them. For me. When I went to bed that night, I didn't draft a message. I didn't plan a confrontation. There was no fantasy where I showed up and delivered some tearful speech in the rain. That's not how my family works. They don't yell. They just forget. They forget birthdays. They forget your dreams. They forget your seat at the table. But I remembered everything. And I wasn't going to ask why anymore. I wasn't going to explain or beg or offer a second chance. This wasn't anger. This was arithmetic. They took $7,800 from me, and I was going to take back what was mine. Not loudly, not all at once, but piece by piece, like interest. I used to think I was just forgettable, not disliked, not hated, just an afterthought, like the one fork that's still in the dishwasher when everyone's already sitting down. It sounds harmless until you realize how long you've been eating with your hands. I was 7 when I first understood what it meant to be skipped. That year, Christmas morning, we all tore open gifts in Grandma's living room, wrapping paper flying like snow. My cousin Luke got a remote control truck with a trailer. Jess got a Barbie dream house. Even my sister Erin, who was still too young to read, got a plush giraffe that played lullabies. I got a set of markers. No paper, just markers. One of them was already dried out. Your mom said you liked art, Grandma had shrugged. You can be creative? I nodded, smiled, said thank you, and tried not to show that my palms were sweating. I was always good at smiling. It became my default response to disappointment, a kind of involuntary reflex, like blinking when dust hits your eye. By 14, I knew how to fold myself into corners. Erin was loud, pretty, the family's pride. She danced, competed, won trophies, got name-dropped at Thanksgiving by uncles who never remembered mine. You're the smart one, Mom used to say when people asked. It wasn't a compliment, it was a category, like sorting the pantry by expiration date. She didn't say I was brilliant or passionate or insightful, just smart. And she said it the same way someone might mention a neighbor's kid made the honor roll. Unremarkable, just slightly useful. At 19, I brought home my first paycheck from the campus tutoring center and handed over $400 to Mom without thinking twice. She said she was behind on the car payment and we were a family after all. The van was nearly total duct tape on the bumper, air conditioning rattling like coins in a tin can, but it got her to her job and Erin to dance class, and that was enough. She hugged me then, tight. I remember because it was rare. Thank you, she said. You're a good daughter. It took 3 years before I realized she never paid me back. By then, Erin had a newer car, a used Honda Civic with a ribbon on top. Dad had posted a picture of it on Facebook with the caption, "So proud of my little star. You earned this." I had to like the post 3 times before my name showed up in the reactions. I moved out when I was 23, not out of anger, just necessity. The house was full of Erin's friends, loud music, takeout boxes. The thermostat was always set to 73, even when I begged for it to be lower so I could sleep. I worked double shifts then, early morning classes, and then admin hours at the university. Sometimes I'd come home and find they'd eaten my leftovers. Once my laundry was dumped on the floor so Erin could wash her practice outfits before a competition. I confronted Mom about it. She said, "It's not a big deal. Don't be so sensitive." Then she asked if I could Venmo $60 for the electric bill. I sent $100. People say families are complicated. They're not. They're layered. But not complicated. My family loved convenience. And I was easy to lean on. Never fought back. Never made a scene. If someone needed a ride to the airport, it was me. If someone forgot their password, I reset it. If someone needed their wedding RSVP inputted into a spreadsheet, I was already typing. But when I broke my wrist sophomore year and asked for help getting to class, no one called back. I Ubered in the rain, held my textbook between my teeth when the cast made both arms useless. Erin posted a photo of herself at a beach bar that weekend with the caption, "Nothing like saltwater and sangria to cure the soul." I still sent birthday cards, still showed up to hospital visits, still contributed to GoFundMes for relatives who wouldn't have recognized me in a grocery store, not because I wanted approval, but because it felt like the right thing, because I believed in family, even when mine was made of glass. The worst moment, though, wasn't even dramatic. It was so ordinary it still makes me nauseous. I was home for Thanksgiving 2 years ago. At the dinner table, everyone was sharing what they were grateful for. I said I was thankful for a new promotion at work, nothing huge, just a title shift and a slight raise. It meant I could finally pay off one of my student loans. There was a beat of silence. Then Erin clapped lightly, said, "Yay, taxes," and reached for the gravy boat. Conversation shifted to Uncle Martin's kidney stones. That night, Mom pulled me aside and said, "You don't have to try so hard." I didn't understand. She sighed. "Every time you come here, it's like you need us to notice something. We're just trying to enjoy dinner." That was the last time I went back for Thanksgiving. When I got the $7,800 charge notification, the emotion wasn't rage. It was recognition. A slow, deep click of understanding. They'd never truly seen me as part of them. Just a resource, an extension, a line of credit, a ride when convenient, a placeholder when needed. And when I wasn't needed, I was gone. I didn't reply to Mom's message, not when she followed up with, The event was last minute. You wouldn't have fit in anyway. Not when Aaron posted a story clinking glasses with cousins I hadn't seen in 3 years. Not when I scrolled through Facebook photos and saw all 64 guests lined up under string lights, smiling in coordinated outfits like some magazine ad for whitewashed wholesomeness. I didn't reply. I remembered. I opened my email account and searched Taylor Family. Then I clicked Archive All. 2,183 messages. Gone. Not deleted. Just removed. Stored elsewhere. Out of sight. Like me. I shut my laptop and walked to the sink, washed my hands, and looked out the window at the alley behind my building. The sun was setting, that soft amber hour where even rusted dumpsters look cinematic. It was quiet. No one asked where I was. No one noticed I hadn't replied. And for the first time, I realized I wasn't sad about it. I was just done. I didn't start by cutting anything. I started by counting. Not out loud. Not with a calculator. Just with memory. All the rides. All the gifts. All the bills, the checks I'd written for the family birthday decorations, security deposits, Erin's deposit for her lease when her last roommate bailed, groceries when mom said she didn't have time to go, the smart thermostat I bought for the house one Christmas because they needed something practical. I remembered every dollar, not because I was petty, because I was the only one who ever remembered anything. I printed out my banking records first, 6 years worth. 3/4 of it had no relation to me directly, just expenses that had been passed off casually with a nod or a shrug or a text like, "Hey, can you cover this? I'll Venmo you." They never did. Venmo stayed silent. I built a spreadsheet. Column A, amount. Column B, description. Column C, who it benefited. Column D, paid back. YN. By the end of the week, the total was $31,612 over 6 years, unreturned, unacknowledged, uninvited. I stared at the bottom line and thought, that's a down payment, a new car, a master's degree, a life, and it was mine. I logged into the Chase portal next. The emergency account I'd co-signed, 6 active users listed, Mom, Dad, Aaron, my Aunt Carol, even my cousin Ryan, who hadn't worked a stable job in 3 years. Me, the only one with primary privileges. The only one who ever got the monthly emails, the only one who didn't use it. I stared at the screen, watching the balance drift between $132 and $9,000 like a mood swing. Then I clicked Manage Access and began revoking names, one by one, no message, no warning, just delete. The electric account was next, still in my name, registered to the house. I'd signed up back in 2016 when Mom couldn't pass the credit check and Dad said, "Just for a few months, Mira. We'll transfer it after the job thing settles." It never settled. The job thing became the back injury. The back injury became the unemployment. The unemployment became Aaron's dance lessons and eventually just, you're better with bills anyway. I logged into the power provider's dashboard, saw the monthly usage spikes every summer when they ran the AC all day, dips in winter when they plugged in space heaters instead of fixing the insulation. I clicked the billing tab, still auto-debiting from my old checking account. I turned off autopay. Then I removed my payment method. It took 2 clicks. There was a message that flashed on the screen. Warning, service may be interrupted if no payment method is attached. I clicked confirm and closed the tab. Later that evening, my coworker Jonah caught me staring into the break room vending machine like I was trying to solve a puzzle. "You good?" he asked. I blinked. "Yeah, just counting." "Calories?" "Number things that don't belong to me anymore." He laughed, but I didn't. I wasn't trying to be cryptic. I was just tired. He nudged the vending machine. "Snickers usually helps." I nodded, then pulled my hand back. "Too sweet," I said. The next morning, I took a walk past the old house. I hadn't been there in nearly a year. Nothing had changed. Same peeling white siding. Same overgrown bushes that Mom always said gave character. Aaron's Honda was parked out front. The driveway had oil spots like bruises. I stood across the street for 5 minutes. Didn't go in. Didn't text anyone. Just watched. The curtains were open. I could see the chandelier we all helped install my hands blistered from the screws. I could see Dad at the kitchen counter eating cereal out of the red bowl I left behind. I wondered if he remembered it was mine. I wondered if he remembered me at all. Back at home, I pulled the binder out again, found the warranty slip for the smart thermostat I'd bought. $189.99, still within the extended coverage. I filed a claim, requested a return, said the users weren't authorized anymore. A technician emailed back the next day. "Thanks, Mira. We'll process the refund to your original payment method. Device will be remotely deactivated within 48 hours. I nodded to myself. Remote. Perfect. They'd taken so much for so long, I think they stopped noticing. kind of like static in a room. You tune it out until it's gone and then the silence rings louder. I didn't unplug them from angry. I unplugged them because it was finally time. No ceremony, no big speech, just action, calculated, measured, like slowly closing a door that had been open too long and let the cold in. On Friday, I logged back into the shared streaming service. Netflix, Hulu, HBO, all the passwords still under my email, all the users still watching, still queued up with their continue watching banners like breadcrumbs I could follow through their taste. I changed every password, set new 2-factor codes, erased every profile. When I was done, I renamed the account. You wouldn't have watched anyway. Mom called that night. I let it ring. Then she texted, "Mom, why can't I log into Netflix? Did you change something?" I stared at it. Didn't answer. 3 minutes later, "Mom, can you just fix it? Aaron's trying to stream something for the twins." Then, "Mom, this is really petty, Mira. Grow up." Then, "Mom, I don't know what's going on with you, but if this is about that party, you're blowing it out of proportion." There it was. The phrase, out of proportion. They always use that one. When I said I didn't want to be compared to Aaron, when I asked why I wasn't invited to Uncle Brian's wedding, when I said I was hurt, Mom hadn't called on my birthday until midnight, and only after Aaron reminded her. I was always out of proportion, too much, too sensitive, too something, and yet, somehow, never enough. I set the phone face down and pulled open my laptop, typed a short email to Chase Bank. Subject line, account termination request joint access. Body, please remove all secondary users immediately. I'll be closing the account by end of month. Attach the co-signature contract. Hit send. Then I sat back. No music, no noise, just the hum of the fridge and the faint buzz of a streetlight outside my window. For the first time in years, I wasn't holding anyone's weight but my own, and it didn't feel heavy at all. The van wasn't even supposed to last this long. That's what the mechanic had said, back in 2016, when we limped it into the shop with a cracked radiator and 2 balding tires. He shook his head like it was a mercy killing and gave us an estimate that made Mom hiss through her teeth. "We'll figure something out," she told him, then turned to me. I had just turned 19. 3 part-time jobs, 0 savings, but a decent credit score. Mom filled out the loan paperwork while I sat next to her in the dealership office, hands folded, trying to keep them from shaking. "You're a good daughter," she'd said, "the only one they'll approve." And I believed her. She said it like a compliment, like trust. But the truth was, it was just convenience. I had the paperwork, she had the keys, and for 7 years that van never once had my name on it until I pulled the title from the back of the binder and looked at the signature line. Mira L. Taylor, listed first, not as co-owner, as primary. The van still sat in the driveway of the house, silver, rust-flecked, passenger door jammed if you didn't pull up first. I'd replaced the battery twice, paid for 2 sets of new tires, and once drove 45 minutes in the middle of the night to jump it when Aaron called sobbing after a concert. "It's not even your car," a friend had said once when I vented about it. I didn't argue. Not because they were wrong, but because arguing meant acknowledging something I wasn't ready to believe, that I had been used, willingly, repeatedly. I called the DMV first, asked if I could sell a car titled in my name if it was housed elsewhere. They said yes as long as I had the title and there was no lien. No lien, no co-signer, no debt. Just me. And a van that had become a shared family artifact like a time capsule nobody buried. I listed it the next day. Didn't tell anyone. No group chat message, no family call, no just checking in courtesy text. Just uploaded photos, the good side facing the sun, the passenger jam cropped out, 2007 Chrysler Town and country 147,000 miles. Runs clean. New tires, $3,200 OBO. Clean title. Immediate transfer. I didn't expect replies that fast, but they came 4 in the first hour. One woman messaged me late that night. Single mom, 2 kids, needed something for school pickups. Could I hold it till Saturday? The keys were still on a hook in the old house. The spare, anyway. The main set was in Mom's purse, I was sure. Or in the bottom of Aaron's bag under a water bottle and gym clothes. I didn't need those. I had the fob. And I still had the garage code. They'd never changed it, even after I moved out. Still 1027 Aaron's birthday. Not mine. Saturday morning, I got up before sunrise. Pulled on jeans, a gray hoodie, worn sneakers. I drove to the house slowly. Parked 2 doors down. The neighborhood was still asleep, sprinklers ticking across lawns, dogs yawning at mailboxes. I walked to the driveway like I belonged. Because I did. Because I still owned it. The van sat there like it always had, nose slightly tilted, front tire just kissing the curb. I unlocked it with 1 click. Slid inside. The air smelled like peppermint gum and old receipts. Nothing had changed, except me. I drove it away without a sound, didn't leave a note, didn't slam the door, didn't look back at the living room window, though I knew someone would wake up and see it was gone. By the time they texted, I was halfway across town. Mom, where's the van? Mom, Aaron needs it for the twins' school event this morning. Mom, Mira? This isn't funny. I didn't reply. I just sent the woman the address to the Walmart parking lot we'd agreed on. She showed up 20 minutes early, wide-eyed, nervous, holding the hand of her youngest, a boy who kept pointing at the tires and whispering, "Is this ours?" I handed her the keys, told her it ran smooth but not fast. She nodded, then opened her wallet. "I can do $2,800, she said, "if that's okay." I knocked off $500, just because. Not for her. For me. Because I wanted this to end with a clean line, not negotiation, just grace. When the transaction finished, I transferred the title. She shook my hand twice. Her kid climbed into the back seat and bounced like it was a trampoline. I watched them drive off. Then I opened my phone. Mom had left 4 more messages. The last one was what I'd been waiting for. "Mom, you took it? That's stealing, Mira. That's low. I can't believe you do this to your own family." I took a deep breath, typed a reply, didn't hit send immediately, read it over 3 times, then finally tapped it into motion. Me. You probably wouldn't have used it anyway. Then I blocked the number. A few hours later, Erin posted on Instagram a story of her standing beside a taxi, arms crossed, 2 plastic bins at her feet. Caption, "Love when people play games instead of just being normal." Someone replied with a laughing emoji. Someone else wrote, "So childish." I didn't respond, didn't repost, didn't even screenshot. I just saved the image of her face meowly. Seasons annoyed, moderately confused because it was the first time I'd seen her expression match what she'd made me feel for years. Invisible, dismissed, unwelcome. And now, finally, irrelevant. I walked to the corner bakery near my apartment, ordered a coffee and a bagel, sat outside, phone on airplane mode, legs crossed under the table like nothing was different. But everything was. There were no tires squealing, no screaming calls, no panicked voicemails, just a silence I had created, a space I had carved back for myself, one asset at a time. The van was never just a car. It was a symbol of weight, of guilt, of debt I never owed but always paid. And now, it was someone else's. And I was lighter. The first time I paid the electric bill, I was 21. It was the middle of July, and the AC was blasting nonstop because Aaron couldn't sleep in heat, and Dad had started taking afternoon naps on the couch with the TV on and the window shut. The bill came in at $312.74 more than my rent. Mom said, "Just this once, Mira. I'll get the next one." That was 5 years ago. She never did, and I never asked again. I logged into the utility dashboard early Monday morning, the day after I sold the van. The account was still in my name, still set to autopay, still using the same expired debit card from my closed college account, a glitch I'd let slide because it meant the payment bounced back to my active one every month. I scrolled to the authorized user section, still blank. No one had ever bothered to add themselves. I had taken care of everything, invisibly. The house they lived in? Powered because I said yes, until now. I clicked Remove Default Payment, then added a cancellation date, 1 week from today. That was generous. By noon, the house lost power. It didn't go quietly. Mom called first. I didn't pick up. Then Aaron. Then Dad, which surprised me. He never called. His voicemail was short. "Hey, Mira. Not sure if this is a mistake. Power's out and your mother said the bill didn't go through. Can you look into it?" I played it twice. Not because I needed to, because I wanted to remember the sound of him asking me for something like I still mattered. At 2:14 p.m., the text came in. "Mom, why is the power off? I have a fridge full of groceries." 2 minutes later, Aaron's trying to get the twins down for a nap. This isn't funny. At 2:17 p.m., "You're punishing us because of that party? Really? That's what this is? You need to grow up." And then finally, "You're being vindictive, just like always. Always." It's a funny word, always. It erases everything in between. All the times I paid, all the times I showed up, all the times I said okay when I should have said no. Always turns all that into nothing. So I didn't reply. I just screenshotted the messages and saved them in a folder titled Reminder. At 3:03 p.m., my cousin Jenna texted, "Jenna, hey, weird question. Are you still the one paying for Netflix? I can't get in." At 3:04, Hulu 2. At 3:05, "Did you change the password?" I let it sit. Didn't open the app. Didn't check which profiles were active. I already knew. They were using me to relax after a party I wasn't invited to, charging $7,800 to my name, then watching my Netflix while the lights I paid for buzzed over their dinner tables. I didn't answer. Instead, I went into the Netflix account, changed the name of every profile. Mom's became "You Wouldn't Have Come." Aaron's "You Wouldn't Have Watched." Dad's "You Wouldn't Have Known." Then I signed out all devices. Final step, deleted the account. It would expire at midnight. The next day, I disconnected the smart thermostat. That was easy. The app still remembered me as primary controller. I logged in, adjusted the temperature to 50 degrees, then hit disable. The system dimmed to a blank screen. No fan, no heat, no control. Aaron messaged me 15 minutes later. "Aaron, the house is freezing. What did you do?" I didn't reply. Aunt Carol called on Thursday. "No. Hi, just... Mira, honey, your mom's pretty upset. Says the house has been dark all week. What's going on?" I could hear clinking in the background, maybe dishes, maybe ice in a glass. I said, "That account was mine. I shut it off." A pause. "You what?" "I shut it off. It was in my name. I don't live there anymore." Another pause, longer. "Mira, families don't keep score." That one made me smile. I said, "You're right. They don't. So maybe someone else can pay the bill now." Then I hung up. That night, I drafted a message. Short, simple. 2. Mom, Dad, Aaron. Subject, $7,800. Attached is the statement from the Chase account you charged last month. The final payment was yours. The liability was mine. I've removed all shared access and shut down all linked services. The balance for your records is 0. We are settled now. No greeting, no signature, just facts. I attached a PDF of the bank statement, highlighted the line with the Moonvale Vineyards charge, then I hit send. I imagined Mom opening it while sitting in the dark kitchen, Aaron reading it on her phone and muttering something under her breath, Dad not saying anything at all but staring at it for longer than necessary. None of them replied. The next day, I walked to the library and returned a book I hadn't read. I wasn't thinking about the email, or the van, or the power. I was thinking about how quiet everything felt. Not silence, but quiet. There's a difference. Silence is what they used on me when I asked for answers. Quiet is what I gave back when I stopped asking. That weekend, a coworker asked if I wanted to grab drinks. I said yes. We sat on a rooftop and talked about nothing for 2 hours, music, bad bosses, the weird smell in the elevator. I laughed more in one evening than I had in a month. I didn't check my phone once. When I got home, I had 4 missed calls. 2 from Mom, 1 from Aaron, 1 from an unknown number I knew was Dad's work phone. No voicemails, just missed connections. I didn't return any of them. The next morning, I woke up to a message request on Facebook. Some second cousin I hadn't spoken to in years. Riley. "Hey, just wanted to say, I saw what happened with the van and the power. I get it. I do. They've been like that for a long time. You don't owe anyone anything. Then, let me know if you ever want to grab coffee or vent. No judgment. I mean that." I stared at the message for a while. Not because it changed anything, but because for once someone saw it. Saw me. And that was enough. I didn't expect people to talk, but they did. And not behind my back, to my face. Politely, quietly, the way people do when something scandalous happens in the neighborhood and no one knows where to stand yet. It started with Jenna, not a confrontation, just a text. "Jenna, I heard about the van. I get it, but they're saying you're unwell? Like you're doing all this out of nowhere. Out of nowhere." That's how they framed it. As if the years I spent covering bills, rides, repairs, favors, that was background noise. And the moment I stopped, suddenly I was unstable. Unhinged, dangerous even. Aunt Carol posted a status 2 days later. Nothing direct, nothing with my name, just, "Sometimes people you love turn bitter when they don't feel special anymore. Prayers up." 22 likes, 4 comments. Aaron commented a broken heart emoji. Then someone else, a woman I didn't recognize, replied, "Family's everything, and some people forget." I didn't reply, didn't explain, didn't defend myself. Because the thing about quiet revenge is, it never argues. It never lowers its voice to be heard, it just lets the silence speak. But the power outage became more public than I expected. Aaron's kids missed a Zoom class. Their teacher emailed her. She responded frustrated and mentioned the power situation. The teacher happened to be a friend of mine from undergrad. She forwarded me the thread, no commentary, just subject line. "Figured you should see this." Aaron had written, "We've been dealing with some personal sabotage. My sister shut off our electricity. She's going through something." Not, "My sister stopped paying for what she never owed." Not, "We put her name on everything, took from her, ignored her, used her, and didn't think it would catch up." Just, "She's going through something." I laughed. Not because it was funny, but because it was so on-brand it read like fiction. A villain arc scripted by people who had never once seen the inside of their own behavior. The funniest part? The family group chat lit up. Not mine, theirs. Someone screenshotted it and sent it to me. A second cousin maybe. I didn't ask. It was chaos. Mom, can someone talk to Mira? She's clearly lost it. Uncle Ben. Wait, why was the van in her name? Mom, it just was. She offered. Aunt Sue. I thought she moved out. Why is she still handling electric? Mom, it was easier this way. Aaron, she's being dramatic because she wasn't invited. That's all this is. Cousin Maria, you charged her almost $8,000 and didn't invite her? Mom, that was a mistake. We were going to pay her back. Dad, Mira's always been sensitive. That one got 3 heart reacts. I stared at the thread for a while, then deleted the screenshot, because none of it mattered. Not anymore. A few days later, Mom emailed. Not texted, not called, emailed. Like it was a business negotiation. Subject, let's talk. Body, Mira, I know things have been tense. I know you're upset. But this has gone too far. You've embarrassed the family. You've made things harder than they need to be. I raised you better than this. If you want to talk, let's do it in person. Otherwise, I don't know what you expect to come of all this. Mom, there was no apology, no admission, just deflection dressed up as diplomacy. She hadn't raised me. She had raised a resource, a function, a backup plan, and now that plan had expired. So I replied. Subject, no need. Body, I don't expect anything, just space. You always said I wouldn't have come anyway. You were right. The next week, the electric company reached out. Someone had tried to restart service, but the system flagged it because of an outstanding balance. I hadn't closed the account yet, just frozen it. They asked, did I want to forward access? I said no, said I'd be closing the account completely, asked for a final statement, paid the last $46, and then shut it down for good. No ceremony, no letter, just one final keystroke, and darkness. On Friday, I went to a bookstore, bought a used copy of Boundaries by Dr. Henry Cloud, not because I needed the advice, but because I liked the irony of it. The cashier smiled and asked, family stuff? I smiled back, just clearing some shelves. Saturday, someone knocked on my apartment door. I didn't answer. They didn't knock again. I checked the peephole 5 minutes later. A piece of paper folded neatly, tucked in the door frame. It was from Dad, handwritten, ink a little smudged. Said, Mira, you made your point. The van was yours. The account too. But this is hurting your mother. It's hurting your sister. I don't know what you're trying to prove, but whatever it is, it's enough now. Come home. We'll talk. He signed it. Dad, no love. No, I'm sorry. Just, come home. Like nothing had happened. Like they hadn't erased me for a decade and called it family. I didn't reply. Instead, I poured a glass of water, sat by the window, and watched the sun start to drop behind the buildings. There's a kind of peace that comes when you realize you don't owe anyone an explanation. They can call it silence. They can call it revenge. They can call it selfish. But I know what it really is. It's closure, and I earned it. It didn't happen with a bang. No screaming match, no dramatic doorstep confrontation, no begging. Just a wedding. Not mine. Aaron's. I found out the way I always did accidentally. A tagged photo on someone else's profile. A blurry picture of a bridal party standing beneath an arbor wrapped in white tulle and plastic roses. Aaron in the middle, teeth bared in that polished pageant smile. Mom at her side in pale gold. Dad off to the corner, holding someone's purse and smiling like nothing had ever cracked. No invite, no mention, no text, not even the decency of forgetting me by mistake. This was deliberate. The reception was at Moonville Vineyards, same as the family gathering, the same $7,800 charge. They hadn't even bothered to pick a different venue. It was all recycled, the lies, the events, the guest list. Except this time, I wasn't footing the bill. Monday after the wedding, I got a call from the bank. Chase Fraud Department. They'd noticed multiple attempts to reopen the closed shared account. Someone using an old login. IP traced to my parents' house. The representative asked if I wanted to press charges. I said no. Just flag it. Make a note. Let the system remember what they forgot. A few days later, a coworker handed me a flyer. Hey, this fell out of the community board stack. Looks like someone you know. It was a fundraiser invitation. Help the tailors get back on their feet. Printed on thick cardstock. Elegant serif font. The photo. Aaron, Mom, and Dad standing in front of the old house. Slightly dim lighting. Smiling like they were recovering from something tragic instead of something earned. Suggested donation, $200. Goal, $10,000. I read the blurb. After a series of unexpected setbacks, including theft, identity fraud, and financial sabotage, the Taylors are working hard to rebuild. Any help is appreciated as they recover from hardship caused by an estranged family member. Estranged. As if I disappeared. As if I hadn't been erased. I didn't say anything to anyone, but I showed up. Not to cause a scene, not to disrupt, just to watch. The fundraiser was held in a community center off Maple Drive. Modest, folding chairs, string lights. The kind of event where everyone brings Tupperware and pretends things are better than they are. I wore black, blouse tucked into slacks, simple flats, hair pulled back tight. I brought nothing but myself and a check. When I walked in, Erin was mid-conversation, laughing. The kind of laugh you save for public events, light, shallow, performative. Mom saw me first. Her smile flickered, like a light bulb catching on a faulty wire. Then Dad. He looked older than I remembered, thinner. He didn't wave, didn't nod, just blinked. Once, and kept holding Erin's baby. I walked over to the donation table. An older woman was managing it. She gave me a practiced smile. Suggested donation is $200, sweetheart, but anything helps. I handed her the envelope. She opened it, eyes scanned the number, then blinked. Is this correct? I nodded. She looked again. $7,800, exact amount they charged me, no more, no less. I didn't wait for her to say anything else. I turned and walked to the refreshment table, poured a cup of lemonade, sipped, stood in the corner and watched Erin's husband struggle with the folding chair, watched Mom pretend to know someone she clearly didn't recognize, watched Dad lean against the wall, checking his phone, pretending not to see me standing 12 feet away. No one came up, no one said my name, but they saw me. And that was enough. I stayed 20 minutes. Long enough for the woman at the donation table to whisper to Mom. Long enough for Mom to turn barely in my direction. Her face didn't move. Not a thank you. Not a nod. Just her eyes. Tight. Tired. Terrified. Like she couldn't decide if she'd won or lost. Before I left, I dropped a sticky note into the donation box. Wrote 5 words. You wouldn't have come anyway. The next day, Erin posted a photo on Instagram, her holding her baby in front of a table full of gift baskets. Caption, grateful for the real ones. No matter what others try to take, we stay standing. I didn't like it. Didn't comment, didn't care. Because the point wasn't their collapse. The point was my calm. I hadn't screamed, hadn't posted, hadn't aired it out. I just rewrote the terms and signed my name at the bottom. That evening, I called the woman who bought the van, asked how it was running. She said she loved it, that her kids named it Silver Rocket, that it smelled like cinnamon now because of the air freshener they hung from the mirror, that she drove it to work every day and for once didn't have to worry about missing the bus. I smiled, because some things should be inherited by people who actually need them, not by people who think they're entitled to everything they touch. I closed the account officially that night. All access revoked, all documents shredded, all passwords changed, everything final, everything mine again. Some people think revenge ends with a slam, a door, a gavel, a dramatic speech that makes the villain tremble and the audience clap. But that's not how it works. Not in real life. Not when your revenge is silence, precision, boundaries. Mine ended the way it began, with a notification. 3 months after the fundraiser, I got an email from my credit monitoring service. Subject: your information was used in a loan application. It listed the name, Erin Taylor, my sister. She tried to co-sign something under my name. Again. I stared at the alert for 5 minutes. No rush of anger, no panic, just confirmation that they never thought I'd actually stay gone, that I was still useful even now, even after everything. I forwarded the email to the fraud department, included the old bank statements, the van title, the closed account history. I didn't press charges. I just let the process do what it does best when people think the past won't follow them. It did. A week later, Erin messaged me from a new number. Erin, why are you doing this? I made a mistake. You don't have to ruin my life over it. I didn't reply, because I wasn't ruining anything. I was just letting the truth have its turn. I'd moved to a new apartment by then, smaller, quieter, south-facing windows and a view of the street where kids played kickball at sunset. No ghosts here, no storage bins full of other people's mess, just clean walls and empty drawers. And my own name on the lease, only mine. Sometimes I'd still get little reminders. Mom emailing a forwarded article with no greeting. Dad tagging me in a memory from years ago, me with braces, holding Erin's science project at a county fair. Aunt Carol commenting, hope you're doing well, on a photo of my cat. Each time I'd pause, not out of sentiment, but curiosity, like studying the habits of animals in the wild. They didn't apologize, they didn't admit. They just poked around seeing if the old doors would open. They didn't. One morning in October, I saw a post from Riley, the cousin who messaged me during the fallout. She'd opened a little bakery, bright colors, soft light, rows of croissants behind clean glass. The caption read, "Sometimes the ones who go quiet are the ones rebuilding something better." I went that weekend, bought 2 muffins and a loaf of rosemary bread. She recognized me instantly, didn't bring up the family, just smiled and asked how I liked my coffee. We talked for 10 minutes, and that was it. No drama, no confessions, just connection, without obligation. The next month, I took a weekend trip. No one knew where, no itinerary, no group text, no explaining, just a train, a book, and 3 days offline. I sat by lakes, ate alone, watched old couples argue about crossword puzzles and young kids throw French fries at ducks. I laughed, out loud. No one shushed me. No one said, "Can you handle the bill?" No one said, "You wouldn't have come anyway." When I came back, I found a letter in the mail. No return address, just my name, written in Dad's handwriting. Inside, a birthday card, blank on the inside except for one sentence. "You know where to find us." I tore it in half, not out of anger, but finality. Because no, I didn't. Not anymore. I spent that birthday watching movies, alone, happily. A pizza box on the floor, a cupcake I bought myself, a new blanket, a lamp I'd fixed last month with a YouTube tutorial and a soldering iron. Every light in the apartment worked. Every payment came from my own account. Every item in the room was something I chose. None of it was borrowed, none of it was stolen, none of it was mine by guilt. Just mine. People think revenge is about making them hurt. It's not. It's about making space, for breath, for peace, for a version of you that doesn't need to apologize for leaving, or staying gone. Mom still sends emails, always vague, always just short of taking responsibility. Things like, "We had dinner at that place you used to like. Made me think of you." Or, "Saw your favorite movie on TV. Erin still doesn't get it." I don't block her, but I don't reply, because I'm not interested in nostalgia. I'm interested in growth, and some roots aren't worth watering again. Sometimes I think about the van, where it goes now, what it carries, maybe school backpacks, maybe groceries, maybe tired kids and long sighs and hope in the form of a working engine. That feels better than anything I could have said, better than revenge, better than even, just clean. The last message I got from Erin was on Christmas. "Erin, Merry Christmas. I miss when we were close. Hope you're well." I stared at it for a while. Typed, "You miss when I was convenient." Deleted it. Typed, "You miss not being accountable." Deleted that too. Closed the app and made hot chocolate. Because forgiveness doesn't require contact. Closure doesn't need witnesses. And healing? Healing is just waking up and not flinching when your phone buzzes. It's staying home on your terms. It's knowing the lights are still on and you're the one who flipped the switch. That's all for this story. I'll be back with another one. If you haven't already, please consider subscribing to the channel. It motivates me to create more content like this.